Hello coaches and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name's David Newbury and today's session is looking at developing wide attacking play and comes from a session from the 2019 convention featuring Abigail Katz from the New York Red Bulls. In this session, we will be looking at a video from the convention and also a global coach animation. So we'll look at the first phase of the activity and let's look at some of the setup requirements to begin with. Firstly, the activity is played in an area that's approximately 30 to 35 yards long and about 15 to 20 yards wide, depending on, of course, the age group that you're working with. And the idea is that we are trying to build up play down the right-hand side of the field, utilizing our right fullback, our number 2, our right midfield player, our number 7, our central midfield attacking player, number 10 or withdrawn striker, and then lastly, our number 9, our striker. And this is a pattern play activity to start. So number 2 is looking to play to the high player, the number 10, and then the player from the outside, the widest position, the 7, comes and drops into a deeper lying position to receive a pass back from the number 10. And the idea is eventually to combine with the number 9. Looking at the methodology we use here, firstly, it is functional roles. So we do place players in positions that they're likely to play on the field, or this could be a warm-up activity. So if your number 2 doesn't necessarily play in the right side fullback, it's not to worry. We can certainly run this activity through with any of the players in the team, but it's really helpful if we're going to start looking at how to build play out from the back, that our players are in the positions they'll play in the field. So number 2 is our right side defender, and number 7 is our right side midfielder or winger, and then our number 10 is our central midfield player. What we've got to try and do is, as the ball comes in, one player must go high and one player will go deep, meaning that the player from the inside of the field, the number 10, will move into a higher position, and then the player from the outside or the providing the width will come on the inside and drop deeper, so that they're not both sitting along a line between the two cones. And what we need to do is also look to see how the distance between the two players works and what is the ideal distance in order to place quickly and also to get the ball forward to our number 9. In the second sequence, we will see that the ball is played back. Our number 7 plays up high to our number 9, and our number 2, who played the initial pass, will make a run around the wide cone and then join into the other end. One thing to note here is the movement of the number 10 and the movement away from the ball once they've made the pass back to the 7. So if you see here, the white line that moves and curves away takes the number 10 away from the number 7 into a higher position, and also allowing more room for the number 7 to play the ball forward to the number 9. So the number 2 and the number 10 don't get themselves in the way and make that area too crowded for that pass. Another thing to consider is the positional the position of the body of the number 7 and their ability to play in a wide circumference. So if they're standing with their body closed, they would not be able to play left, they would not be able to play right. On receipt of the ball, when it comes back, if they open their body up slightly further, maybe they can also play backwards. So it's body position on receipt of the ball that's really important here. Another thing to consider is that if we are working on functional responsibilities, if we go from this end first with the number 2, then when we go back from the other end, that number 2 is no longer in that position. The number 9 is playing that same functional role as our fullbacks. So we may decide, if it's not a warm-up activity, to start all of our attacks from the same end, so that we always have the number 2 in a deep position, we have our number 10 in an inside position, and our number 7 on a wide position. And then finally, we add a little wrinkle to this activity with the number 2. Instead of running outside the cones as we did in the first sequence, now they run in an overlapping position, as you can see on this diagram, to create a third man run. And after the combination between the 2, the 10, and the 7, a pass is made in the path of the number 2, overlapping to then make a pass to the far end. In terms of methods here, a few things that we might want to consider. Firstly is, what are the visual cues that allow the number 2 to feel confident that an overlapping opportunity is on? Certainly if the number 7 takes a bad touch, or the combination between the 10 and the 7 doesn't work, the number 2 wouldn't just chase upfield, leaving the back exposed. So a good touch by both players is important. Also, we might want the number 7 to play a little narrower, meaning inside, to allow more room for the number 2. Also, the number 10 might move in a wider position than the central position as shown here, to allow more room for the number 7 to receive the pass as well. So creating room on the outside for the overlap is really important. Maybe this number 7 takes an inside touch first, and that's the cue for the number 7 to move up and overlap. And then an alternative, of course, is that the pass is wider and the number 7 now receives the ball closer to the touch line, and that means that the number 2 now makes an inside run, so an underlapping run, and the number 10 might move into the new space wider as well. So there's lots of different patterns that we can create here, whatever is the coach's preference. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the video from the convention starring Abigail Katz, and then we'll come back to review before we go on to the global coach animation.
Long. Go ahead. We're just going to walk through. I'm going to drop underneath off the line, and then I'm going to play the ball long. Okay? So we're going to stay there. You're going to rotate. Go ahead to the other side. All right? And now we're going to come back this way. So you're going to play the ball long. You're going to check underneath, and then you're going to play the ball out. Okay? And good. You're going to rotate on the outside. So go ahead, Jeannie. You're going to jump in here. All right? And we'll walk through it again. Go ahead. All right, and one more time back. All right, and keep going with that, girls. All right, you girls can stand up. Rich, if you want to take 5 over there, and the rest of us will get set up over here. Come with. Coaches, for this activity, I introduced the position-specific numbers. I'm not going to focus on it too much, but I want to give the girls an idea of a frame of reference of where they could be on the field in making these passing patterns and combinations. If I find that at some point the 10 and the 7 remain on the same line, then I can also reference it to help them drop back and be on those different lines. When you check in underneath off the line, how do you want your body position to be? Okay, the way you're going to play. So if I'm going to play this way, what kind of body position am I in? Okay, I'm open to the field, right? I'm not closed off. Why do I want to be open? What's in front of me? Absolutely, I have options, right? I can see the field, I have space, I can see my teammates, so now I can decide where to go, okay? So we'll just walk through that. Go ahead, you'll play the ball long. I'm going to check off underneath, open body, I see the field, and now I can play the ball, okay? So pass the ball back here. We'll start from here, and then you'll go again. Go ahead. Good, open body position. There you go. And you girls can pause once the ball gets back here. Make sure the middle players get set up again. Okay, remember, if you're in the middle, we have our 7. You're going to be a few steps forward, and our 10 a few steps back, so we're not on the same line. Can you pass me a ball, Gina? Thank you. All right, so we're going to move into our next pattern. Same beginning, I'm going to play the ball long. You're going to check underneath of the line. Now hold it there. This time, I'm going to make an overlapping run and finish off to the target person. All right, so go ahead. Bella will play from here. Okay, remember, if you're checking underneath, checking off underneath under the line. So you see how you girls are on the same line right now? So you're going to come back here with me. Okay, and Bella, do me a favor, run back there. And let's try again from this side. All right, and play. Go ahead, girls. Okay? Now, what do you need to think about when you're making this pass to the overlapping run? Okay, great, you want to get the ball in front of me. Why do you want it in front of me? Absolutely, so I don't have to stop, right? So I want the ball in front of me so I can continue on the line and maybe play the ball one touch, okay? So we'll try back from here. What else do I need to think about while you're making that pass? Okay, my other options. And what about the pace of my run? Okay, I want to have an angled approach, and I also want to time it, right? So that if maybe there's a bad touch, I'm going to hold my run so I'm still behind the ball. All right, so we'll play through here. All right, I'm going to time my run, angled pass, and one touch to the target. Great demonstration. Okay, go ahead. Daksha, can you do me Isha, can you run to the other side so we have someone there? So we talked about our number 10 there and our 7 here checking underneath off the line. We talked about our open body position. How do I know what time and when to make my move? When you pick up your head? When who picks up? Okay, so when she picks up her head, possibly. How can I make the decision by myself instead of waiting for someone else's cue? Okay, great. So after this ball is played in, I'm gonna make my move as the ball's being traveled. Why do I not want to be there? Why is it important for me to time when I get there? Why do I not want to be standing there waiting? Absolutely. The defender can get there, and they can just come defend me close. All right, so I'm going to play this one for you. Go ahead, you're going to play. I'm going to check underneath as the ball travels. I'm here, and now I'm going to play the ball out.
Well, that's a great demonstration there by Abby. So let's just go and recap on a couple of things. First of all, as you saw there, she had a little difficulty with the players in getting themselves into position where they're square of each other and not, as we described earlier, one high and one low. So working with the players to understand that dynamic becomes really important. And then also notice that the pass that is made by the 7 is in front of the 2, a leading pass, not a back pass to feet. And then one other thing to consider is there may be occasions where the number 7 will actually get into a higher position than the number 10. Maybe that's because you play with 3 strikers, a 7, 11, and a number 9, working in a line as a higher line than necessarily the midfield line. And lastly, let's have a look now at the global coach animation of the same activity, and then we'll come back for the final comment. So that was the conclusion of this activity, a nice warm-up activity if you're working on pattern play to develop wide attacking play down the left or right-hand side. And don't forget, if you're working on the right-hand side, don't forget to work on the left-hand side as well. Well, thank you, coaches, for joining me on this edition of Give and Go Live. And until the next time, so long.